Pixel 8a is basically a cheaper version of Pixel 8, but you would be surprised that actually in two aspects, Pixel 8a is better than Pixel 8. Here we have Pixel 8 in color black and Pixel 8a in color white. Sorry, I meant porcelain. The 8a has a plastic back instead of a glass, which I do prefer. The camera bump is slightly smaller, which is nice, even though it means the camera sensors are smaller too. The bezels of 8a are a few millimeters bigger, which means even though both phones are almost identical in size, 8a's display is 0.1 inches smaller. The frame looks very similar from the side, but 8a is less boxy and more rounded. Both phones are compact and are roughly the size of the Galaxy S23 or Galaxy S24 or iPhone 14 and 15. Both displays have the same Full HD Plus resolution, but the Pixel 8a is slightly smaller and hence the pixel density is higher. The Pixel 8a panel can be brighter than the Pixel 8, but at the same time it has a worse pulse width modulation or PWM. If you don't know what it is, lucky you. If you know what it is and you are prone to getting headaches from it, maybe pick another phone. The bezels are also a bit thicker on the Pixel 8a compared to Pixel 8. Having thinner bezels is nice since you have more space for typing even slightly. Both phones have 120Hz display, which is neat. Let's see if iPhone 16 finally moves to 120Hz or stay with 60Hz. Now let's move to specs. Pixel 8 and Pixel 8a have Tensor G3 and 8GB of RAM. I ran 3 benchmarks to make sure they were having the same performance. In all three, the difference between the results were negligible. In AnTuTu, Pixel 8a got a slightly better score. In 3D benchmark, Pixel 8 got a slightly better score and both of them had the same temperature rise. In GeekBench, Pixel 8a again got a better score compared to Pixel 8, but again, it was just a slight increase compared to the Pixel 8, which can easily change from a phone to another, even for the same model. So remember that I told you Pixel 8a is actually better in two aspects. The first one is the storage speed. I absolutely have no idea why, but the storage speed of the 128GB variant of Pixel 8 is much lower than the Pixel 8a 128GB variant. I don't know what UFS is exactly being used here, but there is something fishy going on with Pixel 8, or at least my unit. The second thing Pixel 8a is better than the Pixel 8 is thermals. During my test, the Pixel 8a battery was consistently 1 to 2 degrees lower than the Pixel 8. Also, when I held it into my hands, I could feel it didn't get as hot as the Pixel 8. I'm not so sure what they have done exactly to achieve this, whether it is because of plastic versus glass, or they improved the vapor chamber, I don't know, but to me it is obvious Pixel 8a has better thermals. For example, here after running some YouTube shorts, Pixel 8 got to 37, while Pixel 8a stayed at 35 degrees Celsius. By the way, both of these degrees are quite high for a cell phone. So how about the battery life? Well, Pixel 8 has 83 mAh more battery, but it's more a rounding error than an actual difference. To test if there's an actual difference, I used both phones with SIM card on them for around half a day, and I did the exact same things on them. By the middle of the day, Pixel 8a was 69% and Pixel 8 was 67%. Linus Tech Tips also reviewed Pixel 8a and concluded the battery lasts longer and the phone uses less power. He also doesn't know why, but I came to the same conclusion. When we talk about the battery, we should also talk about the charging speed. I tested both phones with my Charger Geek 170 and Pixel 8 got 50% after 32 minutes, while Pixel 8a got to 50% after 35 minutes. The full charge for Pixel 8 was 1 hour and 20 minutes, while for Pixel 8a it was 1 hour and 46 minutes. The wireless charging is also a factor. I don't have a wireless charger, so I could not test it, but on paper the Pixel 8a is 7.5 watts, whereas 18 watts on the Pixel 8. So 7.5 watts means you almost get no charge if you are navigating and the phone merely stays the same battery percentage. Now let's move to the camera and photography. I'm gonna make a dedicated video on that, so I will keep this part short for now. There are two main things you should know. The Pixel 8 has a larger sensor, which means more light coming into the camera, so in low light situations like indoors or at night, you get better pictures with the Pixel 8. And the second thing is Pixel 8a does not have a macro, which only matters if you actually take macro photos. During daylight, it is not easy to distinguish the pictures of two photos, but if you zoom in, you will notice the details in Pixel 8 pictures are more than Pixel 8a. In low light setting, for example, indoor videography, Pixel 8 again shines more since the larger sensor means more light comes into the camera and the video will be more crisp, sharper, and with more details. For night pictures, the difference is even bigger. For example, in this selfie photo, you can see that the Pixel 8 is much more detailed compared to the Pixel 8a. Or in this picture, the difference is like day and night, no pun intended. But mind you, these pictures are taken in almost zero light condition, which doesn't happen as often. Also, there's a couple of features missing from Pixel 8a, like the selfie camera 4K 60 frames per second, which is limited to 30 frames per second on Pixel 8a, or the lack of cinematic mode to videography, which helps you blur the background of the subject. Also, Pixel 8a does not have 10 bits HDR, unlike Google Pixel 8. If I had to get a phone right now and the choice was between Pixel 8a and 8, I would personally go for 8a because of the vouchers you get and the deals that are out there. Also, the thermals are better. I prefer to have a smaller camera bump. I don't mind the slightly thicker bezels, and I prefer a plastic back because I'm clumsy. I'm actually gonna give the Pixel 8a to my sister since she's clumsy too, but that's just me. Write down in the comments if for you it makes sense to buy Pixel 8a instead of Pixel 8. Next, I'm gonna do a comparison of A55 versus Pixel 8a and also Pixel 8a versus Pixel 8 camera. Thanks for tuning in to TechMo, and I will see you in the next one.